Okay, so yeah, so this first part just really talks about the fact that I'm involved in every project, and what that means, and the sort of experience that that I bring to what we do. One of the key points here, I'm the architect, obviously, of this, the learning flywheel, everything that we do, and I'll show you later on in the document where that detail towards that is. Here's just a summary of our understanding of your objectives, how we can assist you in reaching those, each of the objectives, and some high-level thoughts on that. And then that's the flywheel. So this is just I think it's a 2-minute video that sort of gives you an overview of a lot of what you've picked up from us. And that's the sprints model and all of the sort of philosophy that goes into that. This is a very helpful 2-minute clip to watch on that. And then, like you said, the examples of what we can produce. So we've got some animation examples there. We've got some e-learning examples over here. If you click this link, you'll see what we've created for Pinterest. And then we've got some examples for live sessions, what a facilitation guide would look like, what a participant workbook would look like, and a worksheet, a shorter version. And then we also create these program guides, which basically summarize everything for you and say, this is what you need to do to roll this out. One of the things we've included in the proposal is visual assessments. We talked about those. I'll point them out in the budget. It's an optional extra, and it just gives you an idea of what that will look like. Yeah, so in the budget, we have a baseline total that we've come up based on the materials you've shared with us and your answers to the questions we've been asking you. We've broken that up into discovery, design, and production. This is the phase, like I said, it's where we spend, it's probably where we provide the most value. It's a lot of calls with SMEs, potentially the actual users as well. If you've got any sales managers, and we can talk to, and it's a lot of questions and interviews, and then a lot of synthesis of that information. You'll see one thing to point out in this is the building of templates. So we talked about this. The reason we can get this down to, I feel like a pretty competitive price, is that it's we can, sounds like, templatize a lot of this, where it's not reinventing the wheel for all 15 courses. So I think that's going to help a lot, and that's mentioned right at the top here of a templatized outline. I will say as well, if it becomes apparent that we can templatize it even more, and that there's not a lot that we need to change between things, or it's just very easy to modularly break it out, we can bring this baseline total down a bit as well. So I think that's based on the assumption that you said to us, look, it's 12, we're going with sort of 15 courses. Normally, like when we do a course, it's 20, 30,000 per course. So this is going to get down to, I think, what's that, 10,000 a course, given that we can templatize. But if it's less than 15, we can bring that down. If it's also something that we can templatize a lot, we can bring that down a bit. Let me just see if there's anything else. So design is, so the outcome of this is the learning journey in that course map. Then the design is everything else. Learning journey will include learning outcomes. Design will include everything else in that course map. That ultimately, that's pretty much everything we need to create the course. It's all the steps, and you sign off on things on the discovery phase. You sign off on the design phase, and then we get into budget. Into production, and that's the budget for production. We've included specific, so because we have 2 people, we'll have a head scriptwriter for this, and we'll have a head learning architect. And the head learning architect will be mainly involved in these 2 phases, and then the head of scriptwriting, who will work with the team potentially if we need to speed things up, to outsource some scriptwriting. And yeah, you'll notice there's a line item for QC as well. So we'll bring in an extra person outside of those 2 to QC everything for you before we hand over, especially because of the shortened time frame. If we want to get this out quickly, and we wanted to do it in a way that minimizes any of your people kind of coming up with like, hey, this so we'll have someone kind of go through it as a student ourselves, and help pick up any things that don't make sense.
Yeah, so talk to me about, obviously we're going to be doing some of the lifting here and all that kind of stuff. Talk to me about how many resources we're going to need to kind of support this, because my sense is that from a QC perspective, it's two things. One, it's does the stuff work and have the intended things and imagery, all that other good stuff, but also like, is the message correct, right? Which we know, right? So talk to me about, how that interaction works and what type of hours we'd be talking, and, in terms of what we need to dedicate.
Yeah. So okay, so yeah, let's figure that out together in terms of the hour part. But I think what we would need in terms of resources is someone to review, and having a dedicated review that goes through it in detail. So a dedicated person to review, and then a chain of command of sort of who needs to sign off on this, so that someone can come in and kind of give that one sort of final approval. And then I think you mentioned that you would be handling the live sessions. So what we would probably do there is collaborate with you, and you'll see here. So we've actually separated out as optional extras the facilitation guides and slide decks for workshops. So what we'll do is include it in this baseline price, is design those with you. So that will be the co-creation.
Sure.
You will have everything you need there, and you'll just need to then create those decks and deliver the presentations. If you want us to do that, there's the option to do it. And what we can also do is do this after the first time you've delivered it. So if you want to go, get that first one out in December or whatever it is, and then we'll either attend that or record it, and we can watch it afterwards, and then turn that into. And so it's not just, we're not going to just make a replica, but we'll think about how do we improve that? Where was engagement lacking? What can we do to improve that? And so at that point, we can turn that into a better workshop for you, and have it done in a way that you've got guides so anybody can pick it up and run with it. So this will have everything documented in meticulous detail, what the overall strategy is, so that Mike, you're leaving soon, Sherry, maybe, so say you were to leave early next year, someone else could come in fresh, pick this document up and say, this is how to run this whole program, and roll it out for the next few years. So, and obviously have all the assets to go with that. So yeah, that's helpful to know. Yeah, so that's the facility. That's the main one I would say in here. We can do really nice animated videos, which it's reflected in the price that there is a lot of work that goes into that. It's not something I'd recommend you do out the gate, but if this program really is showing an ROI and you want to kind of raise the production quality, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, the visual assessments is I highly recommend. So that's these over here. So we can run those for you. It design the whole thing, identify the proficiencies you want to measure, create the surveys before and after, and the communications you send out. So you just get the whole thing in a box. You send a template email, it's got all the links, people go in, fill out their, rate themselves, and then we send you one of these reports for each person, which is really, and they get that report, and then you get like a cohort average we talked about last week. Those are really impactful.
So all of that it's a self-assessment, right? It's not driven by any of the courses that they took or anything like that. Yeah, no, it is linked to the courses we'll create for you, in the sense that the proficiencies will tie to the learning outcomes. Yeah. So if they say, "Oh, I'm not so hot at this," we could say, "Hey, you should go check out these 5 courses again." Exactly, and like even the specific lessons or modules for that. So very, very high ROI. It has a high ROI, and it shows you, it measures your ROI for you as well, which is great. So the nudges is a scripting job to basically write out all the communications. You'll just get this long page of things to send, and you can just literally copy paste them, send them at the cadence we agree together. And yeah, so that's can you give me an example of like one of those communications? Is it like a thoughtful question, or what's the
exactly, it's thoughtful questions. So there's sort of like intrinsic to the course, and there's extrinsic stuff. So the intrinsic would be, extrinsic would be what you said. It'd be thoughtful questions. It would maybe be, hey, watch this like quick YouTube clip on I don't know, Robert Cialdini's Persuasion, and it's like a 1-minute version of that, and it's like, what did you learn from this? So it's just getting people thinking about the mindset of selling by referencing material that's out there. And then the intrinsic part to the course would be, hey, have you completed this particular assignment? Here's something that might be helpful with your upcoming live session. You know, these are the reflection questions, like sort of just keeping them on track for the course.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and then lastly, if you do want a sort of marketing video to basically announce this new program to your entire company, we can also do that. That's a